Hi, this is Ashley Actine, voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you for listening to the Super Awesome Geek Show.
Hey guys, how you doing? John here, and welcome back to the Super Awesome Geek Show. So today, let me move these. We don't need those in the view. Today I have something really cool to look at. We have STARCOM. STARCOM is what we're going on, and I have them all set up and ready to go right over here. Now, STARCOM is a... Let's add them to the stream so we can see the toys. We'll get to them in a minute. But STARCOM is something that I had as a child. Like one or not. Well, I don't think I had them. I think a neighbor had them. One or two vehicles or so. And wondering why, how come I can't get my mic? Well, it'll go there. That's fine, right? You can hear me, right? So, yeah, I think it was a friend that had some STARCOM stuff, and I have always been enthralled with it. I thought it was amazing toys when we were younger, but it was 1987 when these came out, so I was a little bit just getting into, like, I kind of stopped playing, like, G.I. Joe and this stuff right around 86, 87, and then I think it was because a friend of mine got a car. Like, I think the neighbor got his car, and we were going to rock concerts. We started, that was at the age where you start inviting girls to go with you to do stuff. So you're like, come on, let's, so you kind of like, and we got more into video games. We got more and more into like Nintendo and stuff like that. And then it wasn't till like 1990, I think it was 92, that we all got back into toys. Like, my group of friends got back into collecting toys in 1992. So this was kind of like the last thing that some of my friends had, was these STARCOM vehicles. So I remember them as a kid, but I didn't actually have any myself. I think that's how it was. I think they did all belong to a friend of mine. And so, but I always wanted them. Like, as an adult, I was looking at them going, I gotta get myself some of these STARCOM vehicles, because they've got magnetic features, they've got wind-up features, they got things that fold and move. They were I will look up the whole story behind this, because I actually don't know the characters' names. I some of the vehicles I don't even really know that, like, I don't know the name of this big vehicle, this big white one here. I just, so we're gonna have to look some of this up and research and figure out what's going. Oh, sorry, pardon me. Figure out what's going on with some of this line, because I know these small ships are called parasites. The big one, I'm not 100% sure. This little one is the Star Wolf. So there's some that I know, like, but others I just don't. And there was a cartoon with this. There were comic books. This was like a full-on, like, supposed to be a full-on franchise, and it was helped along by NASA themselves. Was it the NASA training, or I don't. We'll look this up, but there was some affiliation with NASA themselves with in how this was designed and how this was put together. So, and the cartoon, right now, that I saw the cartoon up on the Tubi app, TUBI, and the cartoon is phenomenal. Like, the intro is just something else. Like if I can find the intro, I'll do it. Let's say hi to some people here. Gerard is here. Good to see you, Gerard. Oh my gosh, Jim Largo is here in the chat. Jim, how you doing? I see Jim on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures with Bill all the time, and I gotta say it is a pleasure to see you in my chat, Bill, or Jim. Sorry, yeah, and Bill. Bill's here too. Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures is also here. He looks at Largo. Yeah. Been up all night. Oh my gosh, maybe. Hey, Super John. Give me a few and I'll be on today. All right, yeah. There should be a link. The magnetic boots and unfolding gimmicks are really neat. Yeah. Coleco did these. Yep. Great, Chad. Sadly, the cartoon. Actually, don't they have Mattel on them too? Yeah, they're like a Coleco Mattel. Are they a crossover? Because Mattel's on that box. So are they like a crossover? They could. That did happen back in the day, right? Didn't it? Like, or is Coleco a division of Mattel? Like, I don't know how these things all work out, you know. Oh, here's Bill. We'll get Bill on. Bill, man, how you doing?
What's up? Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
How's my sound? How's my video?
You sound and look great. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir. How are you doing today, Super John?
I'm doing good this morning. Ace Super Sport is on the other side. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. So, Bill, this is a weird kind of experiment that we're doing today. I was on yesterday afternoon with Chris Perillo, and he has set up a Chris is someone I knew from Seattle, and yeah. Chris has been in live streaming YouTube related stuff. I mean, I would say most of his life. He's a little bit younger than me,
okay.
couple years younger than me, but he's one of those guys that he just got into this stuff early on. You know what I mean? And has been doing it. I mean, he's probably been online as a recognizable person in the online live streaming technology kind of thing for 20 odd years or more, maybe, you know?
Right.
And, so Chris has a 24-hour, he's been trying to set up a 24-hour YouTube live stream that basically never stops. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And he's got it set up in a way so that people can pop in and be a square, like we're seeing on art right now. You're in one square, I'm in a square, the toys are in another square.
Right.
Like he'll have squares of people playing different video games and showing off different things at the same time. But there's no audio on the except for on the main square, which is like Chris's seat. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so and some people are printing 3D printer stuff. Some are doing, so it's like all kinds of different things. So whenever you tune in, you're going to get something different on Chris's 24-hour stream. So
this is a YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah. It's I can actually I can put it in the that actually in the thing too here. Let me it's the same it's basically the same feed as the one that shows me, but I'll put it in the chat here so that people can see it. But
okay. Let me save that for later.
But this camera is in that stream also right now. So it's sort of like the behind the scenes camera in a sense is showing in Chris's stream. So it's almost like it's simulcasting, and we don't know if this is going to work well or how this is going to do it. But I had that going while I was setting up this morning. So that's kind of what Chris wanted me to do. He was like, can you come on and like set up the studio live on my channel and then go to your channel when you do your live show? But I decided to keep it on because I was like, why not just keep that on and I can simulcast, and it seems to be working. I see it on both. So
yeah.
But
so
over there, Ace,
is he using StreamYard? Is he using StreamYard?
It looks like it, yeah. Actually, yes, it is. The tab says StreamYard. Yes, you're right.
How many? He must be paying for the super.
Yeah, he's got to be doing one of the deluxe ones or something. Because I did see like 10 or 12 squares yesterday at one point when I was
Wow.
checking things out.
Yeah.
Brummy's on here. How you doing, Brummy? Good to see you. Rawzaf. How you doing, Rawzaf? Morning chat. So yeah, if anybody does want to join in, there should be a link pinned to the top.
And he lets anybody come in, but their mics are muted. Is that correct?
On Chris's thing, yes. Yeah.
And I wonder how he manages that. And
well,
does he have to physically bring the person in like you do on here? Like
no, what he has is he's got he's got a thing in Discord, and you basically have to sign up if you want to be added, so he can vet you in a sense. So you're not going to just jump in and start showing porn or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't want some random. So he's got to sort of like look at what you do first, and then he gives you a special link and a key or something, and it will just like when I clicked on it, I was in the green room, and then I just clicked myself to be on. Do you know what I mean? So when it was time for me to come on, he had already set it up. So when I turned on my computer, I was already in the green room when I went to his page. So I was already set up with this camera in the green room, and I just moved myself into his live stream.
Does he have an actual green room where the participants can all see each other, or is it a?
Well, I don't know. I was the only one.
Well, you don't know who's there until you get into the actual stream itself.
I don't know because I was the only one in there at that time. So
okay.
Yeah, but it is running like his camera and two others. Lockdown is running a flight simulator game, and then my thing is on. So there is me and one other guy's playing a flight simulator game. But what Chris can do is he can turn on the volume of anyone turn on the mic of anyone, because like yesterday when I joined, we were chatting about this and other like YouTube strategies, because Chris has a big following on Twitch. But he's got 300,000 followers on YouTube from when he used to do stuff, from previously doing stuff. But he hasn't really touched YouTube in a couple years. So those are old followers who don't know what's going on currently with him. They're going to start seeing him hopefully show back up in their feeds, but he might not. And he wants to try and do something different. So him and I were discussing like what strategies you could do for YouTube and things like that, and also discussing content, because I'm interested in breaking a little bit away from just like going, oh, I picked up this gummy bear, he has 5 POA, blah blah blah. Like I want to do more toy history. I want to do more like, I mean, I like these live streams, so I want to do those, and then I want to do like the affordable series I've been working on. You know, I did one for Star Wars, G.I. Joe, one for Mask, and one for Transformers so far. But I want to do more of that kind of content that in my head has a little bit more meat to it. There's a little bit more, like, it's more than just showing off. And I won't stop showing off the toys. I mean, do that as well. But I'm saying, so Chris and I were basically both discussing, like, what adds meat to a channel, what makes it grow, what adds like value to it for the people who are watching. And that was kind of our discussion yesterday. So he asked me to come on and do the setup, behind the scenes setup, because I think he wants a lot of artists and other streamers to just, because he asked me too, he goes, the next time I'm editing a video, like for the say I'm editing an affordable He-Man, affordable Masters of the Universe vintage figures, say I'm editing that video, he was like, can you come on and actually do the editing live on my channel? You know, share your screen.
Have a hell of a damn computer if he can edit and live stream at the same time. I tried that stuff in the middle of the night.
Well, I've never tried it, so this will be an experience.
It is an absolute disaster to try. I was Zazel can tell you about this. It was in the middle of the night, right? And I'm streaming. It was like a 8-hour stream. I did a marathon. I was crazy.
Wow.
But I came on and I thought, well, I'll stream while I'm cutting this video, and then I'll upload it to YouTube while I'm streaming, and maybe I can show the people watching what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. You know, that's what my screwed up mind. And so Zazel comes on, and I'm sitting there trying to do all this, and I'm like, And Zazel's just giggling and laughing because he thinks it's funny because I kept popping in and out,
Dip in and yeah.
and it
Freezing.
was terrible. And of course we laughed about it after it was all over with. But I said I'll never try that ever again. I have to. My poor little laptop here can only do one task at a time. Multitasking is just not something that it's capable of. So,
Wow, yeah. Well, my dad.
I'll have money to buy the big boy machine or something to be able to do something like that. But I popped in over there and looked, and you had voice over there. I had to go ahead and stop the stream so it wouldn't echo over here.
Yeah, I don't know how to mute. Like if you've got two going, how do you mute one? Yeah, I don't know how to do that. And you mute one and not the other. It doesn't seem to work. It muted both of me instead of one of me. So I don't know.
So you have the STARCOM over there as well as you, but I'm not over there. I noticed.
No, the STARCOM's not over there. Yeah, and you're not over there. It's just this camera right here.
Okay.
So it's only over there is only showing the one camera. So they're getting the behind the scenes look. If they want to see the whole thing, they gotta see you. Yeah. Right. So they might only be hearing one side of this conversation too. I didn't think about that.
I don't know. I'd have to go over there and look later.
Yeah, they probably are. Anyone who's watching is only seeing one side of the conversation. So Jim Largo says, according to Wikipedia, the toys STARCOM here were successful and hugely popular in Europe and Southeast Asia. It's only after coming under the production and promotion of Mattel. Yeah, I know. And the other thing is I know that Europe and Asia and stuff, they actually got more of the toys than we did here in the States, which is very weird because this was somehow helped out by NASA. So you'd think NASA would have put more of in the United States, but I think that the toy line just was at a bad time. I think it was like all the kids my age were getting out of toys by 87 when this came out, and the new generation of kids were yet too young to start getting into these. So the younger generation didn't get into toys until 91, 92. So I think there was like a weird spot where there wasn't as many kids. I don't know, whatever you want to, know what I mean? Like,
yeah. What year did this STARCOM toy line come out in the late 80s or
1980? 1987. 1987.
Okay, so I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
In 1987, and my mind was not on toys anymore.
No, exactly. Yeah. So you're a little bit older than me. I'm going to turn 50 next week.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I'll tell you something the old folks told me. It don't get any better as far as the aches and pains go.
Oh, no, that's what I keep getting told, yeah. STARCOM was originally Coleco, but Mattel took over. Okay, so it was a crossover line.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Jim. Ross Safe. Ross Safe. I like that one, yeah. From now on, you're Ross Safe, Ross F. Mattel removed the U.S. flag and NASA on the Coleco originals and launched the toys with a second line in early. Oh, because this does say, but the box still has the same date. It says 1987 Mattel on the bottom of the box. So they must not have changed. They must have only changed the Mattel logo from Coleco to Mattel, and otherwise basically left the box the same. And then because all the text on the bottom was already there, they've just changed the dates, and it says Mattel instead of Coleco, but the date still says 1987 on it. So that's really weird how they. Oh, but this box has 4 different languages. This is a European box. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, if it's a European box, it's going to have several languages on it.
It's got 4 different languages on it. Yeah. So this is a weird mashup of all kinds of. Yeah, so this is a European box with. Look, it's got the 4 languages on the top too.
Let me interrupt you for a second there, Super John. I know it's your show, but I'm in the dark here, and I didn't get to see you. You might have had a little more explanation while I was in here trying to get the studio set up. Briefly, Bring me up to speed on this line.
Yeah, so STARCOM is a line that apparently Jim was finding out. I don't know a lot about it myself. It's because it's something that was later. Look at this. Jim's right here. Maybe Jim can give us some more details. He seems to know what he's talking about here. Hey
Largo.
Jim.
Hey guys.
You didn't go to bed tonight, did you?
You go by Largo more than Jim, or what?
Well, that's Grindhead Jim's fault. Because
I
was hanging out with Grindhead Jim. And
yeah.
I'm Jim. He's like, dude, I'm just calling you Largo. So Largo.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
he's Largo from now on. He's known as Largo over on my show. You know, he's my co-host, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I see Jim. When I saw Jim's name in the chat, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jim's here!" I see Jim on Bill's channel all the time. So yeah,
I prefer sidekick or magician's assistant.
He's got his own channel now too, called Largo's Lair. So check that out when you get a chance.
Largo's Lair. Okay, yeah. Well, we had a similar issue growing up, Largo. We knew two people called Brian in our group of friends. So one of the Brians one day was like, we were like, Brian. They were always like, what? You know, and one day we went, okay, we've had enough. You're Phil. From now on, you're Phil. We were like,
it was worse when I was a little kid. My dad was stationed in Scotland. And in Scotland, everybody is named Jimmy, or just about, everybody. So I couldn't go by Jimmy because everybody was a Jimmy.
So were you Largo over there as well, or did they have another catchy little name for you?
They had some very catchy names in a wee bit of a Scottish brogue. I won't repeat those here.
Not safe for work names. What goes through my mind. Okay, we're co-opting his show. Let's talk.
Okay, so we're So Largo, let's get into this because it seems like you've looked some stuff up already and you know what's going on here.
Yeah, I loved STARCOM. I was a little too old for toys, but I love space stuff. And when those came out, I was like, oh man, I picked up this bomber whose name escapes me at the moment. I had the Star Wolf, and the Star Wolf has that neat fold-up kind of feature, so it would actually fit in the cargo bay of the bomber.
Of the bomber, yes, yeah.
And the little magnet gadgets were all great. You could magnetically put a Star Wolf on top to have it shuttle with the bomber, and it was just a neat line with great little special effects they plugged into it.
Same with this. I don't know what the main ship is called, but these are parasites,
right?
And they magnet. Oh, I can't get them off. They magnet to the. And they have a pretty good magnet. I mean, they're not going to
even after all these years. Those magnets.
I've never seen a toy like that.
And so the little ships can magnet off of the main ship, and there's
a little man on there.
Well, this is the So in the United States, we never got this guy, but I ran into someone at a convention, and he had these loose and in their original baggies. So I bought one from him in the mail away bag, and then I bought one that's loose. And
he was like the evil emperor or something.
He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy leader. And it's funny that, like, why didn't we get him in the United States? Who doesn't want the leader of the bad guys?
I'm looking at the scale on that. Now, you did some toys here a while back that had little men like that went with it. And it looks like it's about the same scale as those little men.
Well, these guys are, what do I have around here? We've got...
yes, people. I call my action figures little men sometimes.
We've got the, what is this, A-Team...
that looks like Hannibal Smith there.
And,
so
he's
a little, he's about up to about his waist there on a 3 3/4 inch figure. Yeah, there was another line. Was that the one with the zip lines, and they would zip up and down the zip lines? They were
Sky Masters or something like that.
Masters.
Sky Commanders were
Sky Commanders.
That's it.
And then the other side had Air Raiders. So
the Air Raiders. Now that's the one I'm really thinking of. The Air Raiders. Those figures looked about that size.
Well, I think Sky Commander was Kenner, and Air Raiders was Hasbro. Like there was that competition back then. They both had to have an air thing, where they were
and it looked like the scale had gotten even smaller than 3 3/4 at that period of time because figures were around that
They
small.
all small, yeah. Mask, you remember Mask went small? You know,
that brings me to a point. I mean, the line was more about the vehicles. The figures were just there to enhance the vehicles themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, and so
I think it was kind of an economy of scale. They realized, kids want a pilot, but we're going to keep these vehicles small to cut down on costs.
There's only so far you can go with that because the figures have to have at least a little bit of articulation.
Yeah, these figures have bendable knees.
Oh,
so the figures have bendable knees, and they're
a girl figure,
and they're basically 5 POA. No, this is a little guy. It's a bad guy.
Okay, he's got a space helmet on. Okay,
space helmet.
So
now they did have visors, but
those
don't
get lost quick.
Yeah,
I actually don't think any of my figures have visors because they all. I've been buying these secondhand as I find them, and even finding complete vehicles, the driver doesn't have a visor because, I guess
I believe there is somebody who makes reproduction visors for those.
Yeah, we could get some. Yeah.
So,
because I imagine they're all lost.
I'm going to tell you right now, man, you amaze me on a daily basis with the knowledge that you have about some of these obscure toy lines.
Yeah, I'm already blown away. Lax Sivrak's here. How you doing?
Hey, Lack, what's going on, my man? We talked to Lax Sivrak just the other day. He's a cool guy, man.
He's a cool guy. Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. Chip's moved over. White Shadow, how you doing? Chip was watching the behind the scenes shot on the other channel, but he's here. Oh, and here's Ollie Tex. He was on the other channel.
I gotta say,
he's saying good night. He's out.
Yeah, I have definite hat envy. Lack Sivarak has the coolest hat, man. I love that hat.
He's got a hat that looks just like the one Billy Jack wore.
That's the one.
Movie. That is absolutely the coolest hat in the world.
It is cool.
Well, it's good to see everybody that showed up in the chat.
Good night, Tex. We'll see you. Thanks for popping in. You know, some of the guys, the other thing too is in Australia, New Zealand, this time of the morning is actually their time to go to bed. So I get a lot of people popping in sometimes, and they'll be like Universal Mike or some other guys. Usual Mike. Why do I say Universal? Usual Mike and
Usual Mike. Someone else I knew used to call him Unusual Mike.
Yeah.
But Usual Mike has universal appeal, so that
there you go. Yeah,
he's a cool guy too. I used to catch his streams, but I don't get too much because he's on at such an odd hour.
The time difference. Yeah, the time difference. Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, so so it looks like Coleco had this to start with. Mattel took it over. Mattel brought it. Did Mattel bring it into Europe in Southeast Asia then?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. I don't think Coleco was kind of in a rough spot at that point, and that's why Mattel kind of took over the production of that.
They were a video game company.
Yeah, the ColecoVision. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember ColecoVision. Matter of fact, it was a good console system. Very good. Just didn't take off. So these toys were not based upon anything video game that they did. They were just toys, right?
Right. Yeah, they were toys that somehow they had gotten the blessing or backing of NASA, because NASA was really trying to push their space camp program and getting kids into the idea of space.
This whole storyline was in space then, in other words. So these are like spaceships.
STARCOM had a moon base, I think. And the guys in black were some kind of a different faction that were doing something nefarious. So of course the good guy astronauts were trying to keep them from causing mischief. But the cartoon was cool. There were even some female astronauts in the cartoon. So it never made it into the toy line.
There was a cartoon series involved with this. Now this was a syndicated series, I would assume, that came on television.
Yeah, it was a Saturday morning cartoon. I don't know if it went into syndication.
Yeah, I don't think it did. It didn't have enough episodes.
It was a Saturday morning cartoon. Did it air on one of the 3 networks? Or
it did.
I think at the time there was a 4th. I think Fox had just started up around that time.
It was on one of the big 3, but I don't remember.
I would guess it was on ABC, but I'm not 100%. But
yeah.
And I'm assuming it didn't last long either.
Unfortunately, no.
I have it right here, so let's take a look at it.
All
We'll
right,
see what.
let's look at this, guys.
I don't care if it doesn't monetize the episode because of playing this. So we're gonna play this because it's cool.
All
You're a rebel.
Yes, right. Yeah. I don't give a crap if live streams don't. You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
we want to have fun, right? So
Yeah.
is this showing the whole thing full screen in a sense?
Yeah,
Pretty much,
it's on the side over here, bigger than us, and we're all over here in little squares.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
The
Yeah.
U.S. Space Force. Okay.
All right. Here we go. This is the intro.
All Starmax and Star Wolf. Scramble!
The animation on this is superb.
Really good.
Hey,
You definitely get some Battlestar Galactica vibes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that this is what all the cadets think when they join the U.S. Space Force right now. This is what we're doing.
Wouldn't that be cool?
I like how his cat just sits there like it's gonna die.
Oh, evil. Jason of Star Command vibes there, if you remember that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely a Japanese animation company that put this together because
Yeah.
the quality
Absolutely,
is
yeah.
super.
Yeah, it's very anime looking, but the animation is just great. I love it.
Mhm.
The U.S. Space Force.
So, yeah, I mean that is, I mean, you see that, and you're just like, holy crap! I gotta have these. I gotta watch this, and the show is great. I mean, it's on, like I said, it's on the Tubi app, TUBI, and anyone watching behind the scenes on the other one, we just watched the intro to the show, so you're missing out if you're on the other channel. But yeah, they it's on the Tubi app, and I've watched. There's about, was it 13? I want to say it was 13, but it could be a little bit less. I don't remember exactly.
To get a show started on Saturday morning, they had to have at least 12 or 13 episodes. And usually that's all they did. They would do about 12 or 13 episodes, and then they would show them in repetition over and over and over again until it got canceled.
Yeah.
Morning, Duffman.
So how did STARCOM get on the Super Awesome Geek radar?
24 or 36. If they got 24 or 36, they could go into syndication with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was like 50 something, but maybe it is lower. So how did I get into it? So I do remember somebody in my life, so I was collecting, I started out with, hey, Chip, you didn't have to do that, Chip, but thank you. Due to the intro, he likes the show, the cartoon intro that he's thrown in $1.99 for.
Nice looking out for a brother. That's a good way to look out for a brother, man.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it. We'll see you on a video game later today, I'm sure.
Speaking of which, Largo, we need to talk after this show's over with. I got some good news for you, man.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Largo. So I technically started out with Weeble Wobbles. I was when I was a little kid, and
I love the Weebles. Weebles wobble.
Weebles wobble.
Fall down.
They don't fall down.
And
I had the Winnie the Pooh honey tree.
We had the Mickey Mouse one, but I still actually have the Billy Mickey Mouse Weeble Wobble that I actually had when I was.
Yeah, I saw that show. Super John was the show that got me into your show. Did you know that?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. The show that you did with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that was so cool.
Yeah, and so recently I went and found a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Weeble Wobble with the box, and that's the video Bill's referring to. And I showed off that I got a new Billy that looks better, but then I got my original one. It's still in the collection. He's still sitting in there. But so when Star Wars came out, my mother said that I was just totally enthralled with it. Like she took me to see the movie, and prior to Star Wars, I was one of those kids that would be like bouncing in his seat, or I was moving around. She said sometimes if she didn't, like, she had to put me on the inside and she would sit by the aisle, because if I sat by the aisle, I would get up and run. And I would, she said, she goes, you would literally run down to the screen, run across the front, run back up, and run, do laps around the chairs while they're watching.
Like that. That sounds so familiar. I have a daughter named Sarah. She's almost 30 years old now, but she was like that when she
still does that.
So
they're watching Snow White or Bambi or something, and I'm not interested at all. I'm running around the theater and just goofing off. Or she goes, I would be watching the movie and I'd look down, you'd be gone. I'd be like, oh crap, where'd he go now? And you're outside talking to the concession stand guy, like, so how's it going? What's going on? Just shooting this crap with this concession stand people. And so she's like, I was always worried I was going to lose you, so we stopped going to movies. But my godfather told her to take me to see Star Wars. She said I was fidgeting in the seat, just sitting there, and then the movie started, and that ship went overhead. And she goes, all of a sudden, for some reason, you just went and just sat there. And she goes, you moved to the very edge of your seat with your hands on the seat in front of you. And you were just like in that spot. She goes, you were just sitting there until the movie ended.
Do you not?
No, I don't. I don't remember it at all. And she goes, and then the movie ended, and you looked at me and said, can we go again? And she ended up, back then, Star Wars was, back then movies would come out, like they'd go out of the theater, but then a year later they'd be like coming back to the theater, and they commonly brought them back. So between the first couple years running up to like 1980 when Empire Strikes Back came out, she had taken me to see Star Wars every time it came back. It went to the drive-in theater. We went there. It went to other, sometimes it would cycle through theaters. So we would go from theater to theater.
Back then when you had a release, it wasn't a tent pole like it is now, where all the theaters got it all at once.
Yeah. Sometimes would go through.
The reel would travel. It would go to this theater, and then it would go to another theater. And then you had to look in the newspaper and see where it was playing at. You
exactly.
May have to go to another town to watch it. So
yeah,
right. And in '77, the idea of a blockbuster was still pretty new. Before Jaws and
Jaws was basically the first one. Yeah.
So she ended up. In fact, it was closer to 1978 when I finally got to watch it, because we had a movie theater in the small town over next to us that's about 25 miles away. And we had to wait till the reel got there before we could watch it, because nobody was going to take me to Memphis to watch a space movie. I mean, back then, space movies were considered kind of stupid,
cheesy. Yeah.
Well, they were kind of hokey before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars was the first one where the ships actually looked like they'd been lived in.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mom ended up taking me 23 times. That's the big thing.
Wow.
And
props to your mom. My mom would have never done something like that. She would have told me to get bent. But you have the coolest mom. Did you know that his mom made a saddle for John Wayne Largo?
I did not know that. That is cool.
I don't exactly know how. We got to talk to her sometime about this. I know that Lack actually wants me to get her on a live stream and have a discussion.
I told you that a while back, man. This woman is the coolest woman I've ever heard of my life. She made saddles. She was a saddle maker, and she made a saddle for John Wayne. She knew all kinds of pop stars.
Garth. She knew Garth Brooks somehow. Yeah. Before he was like big. Like, if there's a documentary on, is it Netflix or Amazon Prime? One of them, about Garth Brooks and his life. And in the documentary, they talk about early on, he was going to state and county fairs. And I was like, that's my mom. That's the story that my mom had. She got Garth Brooks to come to the New York State Fair. We lived in upstate New York, and she got Garth Brooks to come and play at that state fair. And I remember being a kid, and she said, she introduced me to him and said, this is Garth Brooks. She goes, pay attention to this guy. He is going to be bigger than Elvis. He's going to be bigger than anyone, and I was like, okay, like, hello, like, who are you, and sure enough, she was right. Garth Brooks is freaking massive,
I got a Garth Brooks story now. Of course, it's not my story, but I'm going to tell this. it's funny how interconnection between stars and pop culture is. Garth Brooks once made a statement in the presence of Evel Knievel. He said, "I've made more money doing this country music than I'll ever be able to spend in my lifetime." And Evel Knievel did not pause once when he looked over at him and he said, "Write me a check, brother. I'll show you how."
Dude, that was another guy. I loved Evel Knievel when I was a kid. I was like,
he was my hero, man. He was my hero. I thought he was a superhero. I thought he was a real life superhero.
He had the costume.
There was one.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
had the ability to heal. He had a healing factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
He was not supposed to be able to walk after that Caesar's Palace jump. He was supposed to be crippled for the rest of his life, and he healed and walked out of the hospital way before he should have.
Yep, that was one of my favorite toys as a kid. Was the I think it was Ideal Company made the
Ideal,
Evel Knievel cycle.
I've got him back here somewhere in the pile. I'll have to
rev him up and run him down the hallway.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, I wish that
we're getting away from
I wish I had those. I would like to track those down even today.
I have an exclusive contract with John's mom for the first interview. All right, Lack. I don't think you can outrank Super John, man. I love you, brother, but I think Super John got you beat on that one.
Yeah, someday we'll get around.
Could Evel Knievel have piloted a STARCOM Starwolf and not crashed?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, he piloted a steam powered rocket cycle over the Snake River Canyon. Anybody that would do something like that would absolutely have. My wonderful wife brings in Evel Knievel here on this cycle. Vintage, by the way.
Nice.
Thank you.
But yeah, anybody that would have the guts to get in that death trap and actually ride the thing has got all my respect.
Well, yeah, when I was a kid and I saw it, I don't know, we watched something live on television. I vaguely remember this, and I do remember that period in my life going, I want to be a stunt performer. Like, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? And my parents like, no. Like,
well, that reminds me of the king of comics, Jack Kirby, once told an aspiring comic book writer and artist. He said, "Don't do it, son. Just don't do it."
Yeah.
If Flash Gordon can do it, then Evel can do it. Yeah.
So let's talk
about STARCOM. So these were spaceships.
Yeah.
Let's
zoom in on these toys, and while we're looking at them, we can discuss more about like we saw in the opening, the credits.
That's the bad guy there.
In
the opening,
and he has a vinyl cape just like a Star Wars figure would. You know what I mean? So
I noticed that earlier.
Yeah, they're very much like
You got a few little paint apps there on his arms too. I mean, that's highly detailed there.
For as small as they were really detailed. The astronauts had backpacks and
there's little weapons and backpacks you can get, and but of course mine don't have any of that because they're
well, yeah, that's the first thing that I would lose.
Yeah.
There we go. Now.
Yeah, the great gimmick. The great gimmick with the astronauts is they
a 4-seater.
At 1, 2. Well, there's also a cargo pod in the back, so it's a 3-seater for the crew, and then in that black section in the back, it'll pop out, and you can put another crew cargo pod in there, and you can put I think 4 more.
Awesome.
So I'm going to clear a little bit of this out. So we've got this big black ship to look at. And we'll move that over here.
I want to say that was called the Vampire, but I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since
it could be. Yeah, I don't. That's the funny thing.
All the bad guy stuff had kind of creepy names.
Why does the bad guy stuff always look cooler than the good guy stuff?
Because they got style.
This actually might be an exception though, because some of this good guy stuff looks pretty damn cool if you ask me.
That's true.
So we can start with this bomber and this fighter combination here, where do we got? We don't have the fighter on camera. I guess it's hiding under here. So this is a little
There's the cargo pod.
This is a little cargo pod, like what he was talking about, and somehow it opens up here. There you go.
The magnetic technology is called Magna Lock.
Right.
So you can
Magna Lock was their gimmick.
Stick stuff inside there. Yeah, I like how it has maximum capacity 240. like there's
they put a lot of detail, just like the GI Joe stuff. They had all those little nomenclatures.
Now, did these stickers have to be applied after you bought it, or were they already applied? I wonder.
No, I'm sure you had to put them on, just like GI Joe and everything.
Well, whoever put those stickers on, props to you, because mine would have been all cattywampus.
But yeah, this so the Star Wolf, this little ship here, is like I said, it turns out it looks like I've got a European box, so that's kind of where some of that confusion was coming from. So Mattel must have been the one that put these out in Europe, and then like Largo was saying, it actually started with Coleco putting them out in the United States, and then it moved over to Europe and Southeast Asia.
The way to tell the difference is there's no American flags or insignia on this version. Because the international version, they got away from that.
So the big one has a U.S. flag on it, and these
so that's probably an earlier release.
And these don't have them. I gotcha. Interesting. See, we're all going to be learning stuff as we go along, because there's so much to this that oh my gosh, I have one with a visor. Look at that. I do have one with a visor. I didn't know that. That's cool.
That is cool. I mean, the little astronauts the spacesuits look pretty authentic to me. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and another great thing about STARCOM is each of these were individual characters. They weren't just a generic astronaut. They had backstories. They had file cards. They had all kinds of stuff. Yeah, there's the name.
Where was I thought I saw it somewhere on here. Lieutenant Tom Walden. Yeah. So he's got.
And the little eagle symbol they have there is actually on his helmet too, or the hornet symbol, one of the two.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is. Yep.
That's a lot of attention to detail, to be honest with you. That for a figure that small.
They're great looking. They're great looking figures, in my opinion. I mean,
they even had different divisions. Bill, they had Space Marines that were wearing kind of a green and khaki. They had the pilots in blue. They had like the orange was
there's some guys
were in Star Command. Yeah,
red and orange. Yeah, and
they put a lot of detail into this. I thought it was a great toy line.
Oh yeah, this has to have a button. That's right. Yeah, and then this is the pilot guy was in you saw him in the cartoon with the white and blue.
He was like the hero of the TV show.
Yeah, his cat jumped.
Was he the one that roasted his cat?
Yeah, the cat jumped in with him and he killed his cat. Yeah, because technically, you hit the G-force, blasting off, and that cat is turned to goo. It's like unprotected. But yeah, so what Largo was referring to earlier is that these can fold up.
Okay.
And then
it can attach to the bigger ship with the technology.
Yeah, right. So we'll get to that in a second. But there were all these clever little things, like there's a button hidden back here.
Yeah.
So when you would push that,
it would actually deploy.
Yeah, so it would deploy. And just the act of folding it up kind of winds up the gears that are inside of it.
And the fact that it's still working today tells me a lot about the craftsmanship and the workmanship that they put into these.
They were very well engineered.
Yeah.
And another neat thing about that fold-up gadget is it allowed you to put the Star Wolf inside the little cargo pod in the back of the bomber there.
So we'll take a look at this bomber here and show you all this features. This thing is crazy. And this took me a long time to find and get together, and it's still not complete. There's a wing.
One of those with all the pieces is really difficult these days.
So there's a wing over here. You see this wing?
Ooh, that looks like something to break off.
I need to find it for this side. There's two holes where the wing has to go. And then there's a bomb missing. I have a bomb in the back kit.
That a question then for Largo. You had mentioned earlier about guys doing repro stuff. Is there someone out there 3D printing repro stuff for these?
To the best of my knowledge, there's somebody. Not only do they do the little visors, but they also do the little wingtips for the Star Wolf because those get lost a lot.
Yep.
If you can't find reproduction, you can find a couple of toy stores that just sell those little parts because they know somebody's looking for them.
Yeah. So these guns, like I could do for a new gun on this side. I think it's a little bit broken.
Wobbly.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they make those little guns. People would do that. So yeah, this thing has a ton of features. Like you close that hatch and you basically got this as your ship. And mine's a little loose in here, but it's okay. But you could theoretically have that up and shooting, you know. And then you've got the cannons on the side that move and rotate, and they go in and out. Oops. See, mine are so loose from age that they just C-clamp. They just C-clamp onto a peg here. So it's kind of they're constantly falling out. But again, like it's got a number of gimmicks. So
what was the price point on those? Do you know, Super John?
Oh, I have no idea. No, but
they were pretty pricey for the day, but they had so many features and gadgets that, you know, that's why.
Yeah.
So you push this and the cockpit opens.
That's amazing. And look, folks, it doesn't break like Todd McFarlane's Batwing.
I wasn't going to say it.
I did it for you.
This this is the landing gear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a landing gear that comes down.
See, now that was something that always stuck in my craw as a little kid because I was always a stickler for detail on this kind of stuff. The X-wing, you had to stick your finger in there and pull the landing gear out. But wouldn't it be neat if the landing gear had something so that it would look like it was coming out on its own? I love that. It's
just a little dial. And I think what they did is they said, all right, if we're gonna make a button for the hatch,
let's do something. Yeah,
let's make it something on the other side to make it symmetrical, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is you can push these, and there's little gun missiles that can come out from the sides.
That is just absolutely wild. How much stuff is going on with this toy? It's so much stuff going on with this one toy.
And then there's a lever back here to pop open the back. You know.
Wow.
And then you got two guys that can sit back forward facing each other like you're on a train or something.
One's a navigator and one's a gunner.
Yeah, so they're and there's magnetic floors, so they actually stick to the floor when they're in there, so they're not going to fall out, you know.
Right, because all the astronauts have magnetic boots.
Yeah, they have magnets on their feet. And then we can take these off for now, so I don't. They're gonna fall. They're gonna fall on the floor, and I'm gonna be like, "Where the hell did it go?"
Then the carpet monster will get them.
Yeah. And then let's see. We got this lever over here. What did this do?
I think that's to open the back end.
Or does that?
It either opens the back end or releases the bombs. One of the two.
These just fold up. Yeah. Okay. So the wings just fold up normal. There's no mechanical things for the wings, but they just fold up.
On the bottom, Largo, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so back here is a bomber ring, and there's bombs that they already bombed out.
Oh, and
they're bombs away.
This thing has so much story that it's telling.
So you basically can rotate this thing; it lines up, and the bomb shoots out the bottom, which we just had happen there.
Wow.
So
they're just gravity fed because they got a little weight to them. And even the bombs are magnetic. They got a little metal place so you can magnet lock them to something else.
So there's a little metal.
I've never seen a toy with this much story being told in just one little toy.
Yeah, they did a great job.
So I'm missing one bomb for some reason, but that's it's going to happen, right?
Right.
I'm surprised.
So then the last
3 of them.
Yeah, there's at least 3 out of 4 I got, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. That'd be the first thing I'd have lost if I was playing with that as a small child.
So hopefully we can see this from this. angle. Maybe I can adjust this a little bit here. So is it?
I think it's that lever there. It may be the mechanism's frozen. Yep.
There we go.
Might need some adjustment.
Let's see if we can get it.
I didn't even know it did that. My God.
So yeah, it doesn't seem to be. I know it worked at one point. I think it worked when I got it, but I haven't.
Yeah, the gear on that just needs to be reset.
Yeah. So and then this folds down, and people can get out. Like this cargo container.
Okay.
Actually, also has magnetic floors.
Fill it up with Space Marines.
So he can basically sit down in this little chair here and go in the cargo container. And then, let's see, can he? How's he? There he goes. So he can be in there, and then you can close up the little hatches, and now you got guys in there. You know what I mean?
So this thing could be a bomber or a troop transport or a cargo transport, just whatever you needed. Mm-hmm. It was almost as versatile as the real space shuttle.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna have to take it apart. It's not. I can feel it engaging in there, but it's not. It's not actually winding. It's not winding as you close it.
WD-40. If it doesn't need to move, duct tape.
Yeah, that's the rule.
So so basically you could then. So this is the cool thing that Largo was talking about. You fold up this ship, and now it can go in here as cargo. And you fold up the things.
Isn't that cool?
They made everything so versatile that it, like, you know what I mean? Like you can really play with this. You've got this cargo container that fits in it. You've got the personnel carrier that fits in it. You've got
there's
these
a little space jeep thing.
Little space things, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and even the vehicles, which we'll get to, like they fold up, and you'll notice they'll become a square when you fold them up. That'll fit inside the thing. So everything can kind of work together, and it's a really, really cool system, in my opinion. You know, it's just
it is. All right, so this the big vehicle here, was that the one big vehicle, or were there two or three of those big?
No, there's more. We can look at a website and look at more, but there's two or three big vehicles that are all like, oh my God, like there's some that I'm just like, holy crap, I want to find that one day. But even today, some of this stuff can be extremely expensive. Like it's magnitudes of a few $100s, you know, for each individual.
Finding a complete command center is it's going to cost you a mint.
Okay, so there was a playset command center that
there was also command centers.
The bomber there was kind of like the Cadillac of the line. It was the main ship, and everything kind of rotated around that. But then they came out with some other ships that were only released in Europe, we never saw in the States, that were just as cool.
They probably were on the books to be released in a later wave, and then the line got canceled over here, and they took all that stuff and released it in Europe. That happened a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I remember something similar happened with the Big Jim line.
Yeah, our Motu Giants got released overseas, but we never saw them here in the States. You know, that's the same deal.
Yep.
So then we'll go to the little ships here. So like the little vehicle things we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So the other thing is, so there's a magnet on top of this vehicle so that you can pod one on top. Where do they line up? There they go. So you could have one in the cargo bay, one in here, and then he can take off from it. Like he can just be like, we're blasting off to adventure. And take off, you know? So, it's just all kinds of cool stuff. But then this little vehicle also had, he can fly down, cargo, go, You know what I mean? And pick up the
Yeah.
cargo container. So that is just so, to me, that's like something I would totally do as a kid. Let's go.
That to me is something
You
I
know?
would totally do as an adult as well. Let me tell you something there, Super John. We talked about this on one of my shows the other day. Do we play with our toys as adult toy collectors? I'm going to ask you the question on your own show. When you're not on the air and you're in there playing with these toys, do you find yourself going?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm constantly making sound effects and being like, Roger Wilco, we gotta go. Let's get out of here. You know, like
Yeah, well,
you're just like
when he starts playing with the toys on the show, he'll have a little storyline that he's doing with them. It just cracks me up. It just brings me back to back in the day when we're playing.
Yeah, there's no shame in his game. He knows how to make the sound effects.
Based, man.
It's cool.
But yeah, so the little vehicles here. So there's magnets all around. So he can magnet in the back and operate the little gun. You can actually get guys on the side, so you can magnet them up here. So you can carry like 3 guys on the back in a sense. And then the main guy has a magnet floor so that he could stay in the cockpit here and not really fall out, you know. But what's cool about these little vehicles is each of them has a gimmick. Is this one a pullback? No. Some of them are pullback. Some of them have little gimmicks. I always have to remember how to figure these out, though. Or did that flip inside? I think that flips inside. Hold on a second here, guys. I think we flip.
There you go.
You flip the gun inside, fold it down, click that down, and now this can, of course, go in the cargo container. You know, I mean, it's basically the same as one of the cargo containers, you know, so it can fit in the ship. But when you want to deploy it, you just click this little button and the thing pops out into a deployable vehicle, you know, with guns and stuff. So it's a cool little like pop-up feature. And some of them actually wind and do like we got this one that has, so it's got magnets on the sides for 2 guys, a magnet cockpit, and a magnet gun turret here. But now how did this one go? I think we fold it down, and you got to ratchet it till it clicks. Mm-hmm. Whoops. And it should wind itself up. There we go. And now, is this one when you roll it? No, this isn't a rolly one. Oh, there's a button. There's a button. So you click the button over here, and it pops up the gun. I think it was supposed to wind, but it might be a little bit dead too. Like it's supposed to go slower, like but I think it's a little bit dead. So it's just using the spring rather than the things. But there's
considering the age and how intricate all the little engineering is, it's still in really good shape.
Yeah. The fact that it's even working is just amazing to me.
yeah. But little guns out front, you know, and do. So really cool pop-up vehicles in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like you just
so each toy of the vehicles or spaceships came with a character.
Yeah. I think you got a figure with each one, and some
so
of them you got a couple.
To collect them all, because the only way to buy the figures was this way, or did they have the figures like in a set of 4?
I think they had figure packs. Yeah, like
right.
There might have been 2. Was it 2 figures in a pack or something?
Originally, they just came as 1 on a blister card, and then later on, I think they did 2 packs where you'd get 2. But yes, certain pilots you could only get with the vehicle. Those were unique characters. And the same thing with the command center. The main commander for this you could only get with the command center.
Okay.
But some of your crew, the ones that would, you know, like your navigator and gunner, you'd have to buy them separately. You only got the pilot.
Okay. And then like if you want, you could army build with your space marines and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Now,
the bad guys
the same way. I mean, did they have?
Yeah. So the bad guys had generals that were like this, and
put your hand behind that and let that.
Yeah, it's not focusing real good. There you go.
There we go.
So
The
they
bad
had, like,
guys also had
They
one
painted
extra.
his eyes.
The bad guys had an extra advantage in the fact that they also had robots. The good guys
Yeah.
didn't have any robots.
we got a robot.
The robots were so that the good guys could actually have something to actually shoot at with their
Yeah.
laser.
This is the robot commander guy, and then he has almost goldish armor, where the silver armor were the troopers. And I guess I don't have a trooper, but then the human bad guys, there was 3 or 4 human bad guys that were kind of in control of the robots, but they did have robot commanders, which is what this guy is. And yeah, these little vehicles are really cool. The bad guys had great vehicles that,
Oh man,
like this one folds up.
like a little doom buggy.
Yep.
And I think this goes inside here.
Now, if I remember correctly, the big black ship has a cargo pod.
It does.
Yep.
Yes. And this one, I think, pulls back. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get this to go. There it goes. It's going a little bit. Neat. And then, let me see. I think you just... Was this
Pop
one you
it.
just did on your own? Or was there a pop feature? It doesn't feel like it wants to... Oh, I guess it just... I guess you just kind of pop it on your own. I don't see a button. Or maybe it went like at a certain point in the... Like as you're driving it, right? Did it...
That
pop
could be.
open?
I don't remember, but it
Yeah.
had something to do with how the big gun in the back holds it in or something.
Yeah, but it...
So that's
so
like
anyway-
the all-terrain mode.
Yeah, it pops open into this all-terrain mode, and yeah. So again, a lot of these gimmicks, you know, because they're 1,000 years old, you've probably got to like tweak them and everything. But yeah, I think I have what he was talking about. So now the main bad guy ship was this, and again, was this the vampire? I can't remember its name. But the reason it's kind of an odd shape here is because there's this cargo bay down here with this, and wasn't there a button?
There it is.
So it can land and that little vehicle can come out. So I have a broken one that just kind of hangs out in there, and it actually has there's a little flip up. So there's a button.
Roll out.
Yeah, there's a button here. So if he's sitting there on a planet, you can hit this little button, and it will eject the little
deploy. Yeah.
Yeah. But it just kind of latches shut, and when you hit the button, well, it's raining, but it'll open itself up. Yeah. So it's just really cool. And then, like, there were buttons for the cockpit, so you can eject that. The back one, yep. So there's a forward-facing cockpit and a back-facing cockpit, and the buttons will open either one, you know, so that you can get all your guys in and out.
And then the little parasite fighters, called parasites because they hang on the big
Yeah,
ship
so
there.
they hang onto the wings here. And then this little gun, again, it's like a flip around thing, you know. So you just kind of push and flip it around, and then you can extend the gun part. So you got this cool turret gun back there. These all turn around. And then
they were definitely not stingy with the laser cannons. They put them everywhere.
Oh, that's right. We got the buttons on the side will pop out the laser cannons here. So we've got
How did I miss this line?
You were into girls, Bill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's
The
wrong
rest
with
of
you?
us were playing with space stuff, and you were hunting the ladies.
So I need the blue gun on this side, but yeah, it's still
And how much does the replacement stuff like that go for, Super John? Is it really expensive in the Evil Bay?
I actually don't know. I haven't really tried for some of these to get like the last piece or two in a while. It was like I was hunting for things for a little while, and then I got onto other stuff, and I haven't gone back to it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there are some reputable toy stores that sell them at a decent price, but there are some others that will sell them at some ridiculous prices because they are very rare.
Yeah, we can look some stuff up and see what we're going with. But yeah, so these little ships, there's these spots here with magnets on them. And they, like we said, they just magnet right in, and they're not going to fall out. They're great little vehicles called parasites. So you basically have the big ship fly in, and these two parasites can take off and attack its fighter planes, right? You know. And what's cool about these little parasites is that they also have like a little cockpit gimmick, so you can open up the cockpit. And they have did you see that?
Attack mode.
So you fold it all up, push the little thing back in, and then as you're flying around, you hit this button, and the wings deploy and the guns pop out.
Boy, the chat's just going strong today. Thousands Ghost just came in. Hey, Thousands Ghost. I think Dino's here. G-Force Racing 20, Glendon 3D. Good to see you guys collecting with cool.
So yeah, so you got lots of little gimmicks with this line. It's just incredible, you know, like the amount
of play value, the imagination that went into this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the amount of stuff you can do with it. It's incredible.
Dare I say, it is weird and fantastic.
But I actually love the STARCOM stuff, and I do want to get more of it. And
I gotta say too, John, your bomber there is a good specimen because a lot of those the white would discolor over time.
I know.
The plastic would turn kind of funky colors.
Yeah, that like you can see it on the Star Wolf. I mean, there's spots that are turning, you know what I mean? Like this is still pure white. The wings are pure white, and then this is turning a little bit yellow. So I mean, like, but it's overall not so bad, you know. And
yeah, that one's in really good condition.
This is starting to do it too, where you're getting some discoloration, but the front is like super white, you know. So it's just the way, you know, plastics were back then. Things don't.
Yeah, same thing with the old Stormtroopers. A lot of them turned dingy over time. It's the nature of toys that were never meant to last several decades.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought that we would still be collecting toys.
That's it.
At this age that we play with as children. I see Dino in the chat down there. Real quick, Dino, are you doing a toys and fitness show today? Acquiring Minds want to know.
They do have one scheduled today. I saw it on the books.
Cool.
So on the listing. So I think they do have one scheduled today.
Good deal.
Well, guys, I'm loving this, but I got a boogie. I got dogs I need to feed. I wasn't expecting to jump on, but I saw STARCOM. I'm like, oh, that's STARCOM. I got to get in there.
Before you go, Largo, do you collect these? Do you have any of these in your collection there at the Largo residence?
Unfortunately, I do not. I had a collection that included STARCOM when I was in the continental U.S., but I sold everything when I moved. And I wish I had held on to some of this. I had no idea how hard it would be to replace it later.
Yeah,
so I don't have any right now.
Did you hear my wife? She says all that stuff is cool. She wants one.
That's the thing with a lot of stuff. Yeah, you're just like, damn it, I should have kept that, you know. And
exactly. You know, the hindsight is 2020. But thank you, John, for letting me horn in. I had fun. I will catch you guys in the near future.
It was great to see you, Largo. Appreciate you popping in.
Well, thank you. Take care, buddies.
I'll see you, Largo. I need to talk to you, though. He's gone. Hey, I got to run, too, Super John. But, hey, this has been awesome. I'm going to watch the rest of the show in the living room. But I had a great time with you, man.
Yeah. Thanks for popping in, Bill. I appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy, man.
Let me get to the chat here. I guess that's not too bad a picture. I was hoping to go a little bit higher up on these, but we're all right, I guess. So yeah, I remember Glendon. How you doing, Glendon? Good to see you. Good morning, 1000th Ghost. Hello, G-Force. Good to see you. Did you say Geek Strong was here? Yeah, Geek Strong. He's got 2 new toy hunt videos. Cool. Collecting with Cool. Your ship. I wonder fair and square. Enjoyed it. People are enjoying it. Watching how many features this had, and I find myself asking why Hasbro, right? Yeah. So this actually brings up something. G-Force brings up something that I'm curious about. Okay, so the reason that in the past, like we're going back to the 80s here. We're going back to the 80s. So what happened was I think the price wasn't it something like the price of the oils and the petroleum, whatever that they were making the plastics out of, started going up like throughout the 80s. Like from 1980 to 1990, prices went crazy. You know what I mean? Like they say that decade, like the price of stuff increased so much that it changed everything, you know? So by the end of the 80s, I think toy companies were looking to cut costs. So they scaled down from the 3.75 inch figure to the 2-inch or 2.5 inch figures, like what we've got here with STARCOM. So Mask had smaller figures. Sky Commanders had smaller figures. Air Raiders had small figures. This line, STARCOM, had small figures. So all these lines that, you know, early 80s, the size was 3.7 to 4 inch, going up to 5 inch with Mattel and Masters of the Universe. But by the time you got into like, you know, that ended 84, 85, 86, that scale was falling off. And by the time you got 86, 87, 88, that's where you're into the Mask scale, the you know, Mask, Air Raiders, Sky Commanders, STARCOM. They all have these 2-inch figures. They went to a 2-inch figure scale. So my thing is, are we at that point again? So the reason they scaled down, from my understanding, was to cut the cost back to something people could afford. So basically, like, say like you know, the speeder bike with a biker scout on it was like $10 in the store or whatever. Let's just say. So in order to keep producing that in the late 80s, so like 87, 88, that vehicle with the figure would have been $20. So it would have doubled in price. So instead of doubling the price, they said, let's keep the price the same, but use half the plastic. So instead of a 4-inch figure, we've now got a 2-inch figure, but the 2-inch figure is the same price as what the 4-inch was. So when you go in the toy aisle in 1987 or 1988, you still see an action figure on the shelf for $4.99 or $3.99. You know what I mean? So, you know, like where it was a Star Wars figure or a G.I. Joe figure for $3.99, now is a Mask figure, or now it's a STARCOM figure. So the $3.99 price point stayed on the toy aisle, but the figures were cut in half. The size was cut in half. So you didn't get a shock to your wallet. You didn't suddenly have to pay $8 or $9 for a Star Wars figure. You know, if that had happened, they would have went, no parents would have bought it. So my question is, are we in that same spot right now? Like we saw the doubling of the price of Black Series. We're seeing the doubling of the price of vintage collection. So should the toy companies actually be looking the other direction and going, no. Let's get rid of 6-inch figures because they're too expensive to make these days, and go back to 3.25-inch size, and maybe even start considering like a 2-inch or 3-inch style figure, with that, because that way you can. What was proven with these smaller figures was the vehicles could be way more advanced, like you see in this STARCOM line, like we see with Mask. The lines for Mask were incredible. Like the vehicles having all those transforming features in Mask was just awesome. So they could basically produce really intricate and fun play sets and vehicles by scaling down the figure. So, but yet the figures still have some articulation. They're not just a statue like the Star Wars Micro Collection. Like that's what I think Star Wars Micro Collection did wrong. Like Micro Collection, the figures didn't move. If those figures had bendable legs and little arms that moved, that might have been a whole different story with that Micro Collection. Because imagine if you had these in Star Wars ships, you know what I mean? With all these little features that could open up and do stuff, but those little figures were Star Wars figures. Like, wouldn't that be freaking awesome? I just think that they could do a lot with this. And I know that, like, what is it? That little Galaxy line is trying to do that, but they're a little bit, the figures are a little cartoony, don't you think? So maybe they need to make them look a little bit more realistic, but have that same idea, because those ships are awesome, Blue Sasquatch, good morning. Good to see you. Sounds plausible. More shelf space as well. What's the spot? Global world order choking its serfs? I don't know. Down boy. Only toys. Down boy. Down boy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, that's something to think about. You know what I mean? Like the toy industry today has to make a change. And I guess the question is, what change would you make? Are you okay with the price being double and getting like half as many figures? Because that's the other thing. I feel like we're getting a lot less these days than we did in the past. You know what I mean? Like a toy line, every year might have 20 or so, 30 figures come out. And now it seems like I was talking with Chris last night. I haven't seen a new vintage collection action figure, one of these vintage collection figures. I haven't seen a new one in the store, like in a store at my Walmart or Target, in probably 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6 months. And Chris said the same thing in his area. He hasn't seen a new one. So was there a new wave for Christmas? Like, I don't think there was. I don't think there were anything new for Christmas related to the vintage collection. You know what I mean? Everything I saw on the shelf had been there for 3 or 4 months. So 5 months maybe, So it's like we're not getting the quantity of figures that we used to get back in like 2011 or 2008 and something, you know what I mean? Like where there was like 3 or 4 new figures every other week, So, and Toys R Us used to be stocked with them. Like you'd walk into Toys R Us in 2011 and there was like 15 Senate guards on the shelf, you know what I mean? And it was like, nowadays you walk in and you're lucky if there's one Mandalorian figure on the shelf, So why did we go from, in 2011, there was like every 2 or 3 weeks, there was 20 new figures, and on the shelf, there's 10 or 15 of each of those figures, to now we walk in the store and we're lucky if we find 5 new figures every 6 months, and there might only be one on the store on the shelf, So it's like, I don't understand what happened. You know what I mean? And I don't think our habits changed. I don't think it's because we have changed that much. You know what I mean? Like, I know with Black Series and stuff like that, a lot of us are slowing down, but that slowdown is only because the cost has gone up. If the price of the figures was still $15 to $20, we might actually still be buying every single figure. But because they're $30, $35 now, we're not buying them all. And a lot of us are saying, screw it, we're not buying any. You know, so I think they went the wrong direction. They shouldn't have. They should get rid of 6-inch figures. That's the bottom line. It's too expensive to make a 6-inch figure, because even the new Indiana Jones, I'm only getting one. I'm getting Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that's the only 6-inch Indy figure I will buy. I'm not getting anything else. And I'm going to get the retro ones, because the retro ones are 3.75 inch. So it's, yeah, I think they need to go the other direction and make the figures smaller for the same price, instead of making them bigger and twice as much money. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing to think about. I wish there was someone here I could bounce these ideas off and we could discuss, but you guys in the chat, let me know what you think. Give me sculptures by real fans. I watched How It's Made, Lego Automated. Yeah. I've stopped buying modern. I have a couple of bits I need to finish off with a couple of sets, but I'm just collecting vintage because I can get it for the same price. Exactly. Yeah. That's the other part too, is that vintage. I'm making sure I didn't miss something in the chat, but vintage is I guess that's the other thing too, is that I want to finish some of the vintage stuff and get more vintage. Like, I just won another mask vehicle. Pardon me. Sorry. Here, hold on. I just got another mask vehicle, the Wildcat, I think it's called. It's the tow truck. And I'm watching the Raven and the Mantis, I think it's called. There's two different vehicles. I've also got offers in for to see if they'll take my offer. And so yeah, I'm going through the lines and going, because with Mask there was still 3 or 4 vehicles that I wanted to collect. I don't need to get every single Mask toy that existed, but there was 3 or 4 other vehicles that I really wanted, because I was like, I like the way they look and how they are. So I was like, I'm trying to get those now. I'm trying to go, let me get the stuff, that the vintage items that I wanted for my collection, and finally finish some of these. What I had in my head is, this is the stuff I want from that vintage line. And even stuff in the 90s, like these Star Trek figures. Like, I'm looking at them going, who else do I need from these lines? And I got to get the rest of them on card while they're cheap. And because I think, I've said it a number of times, but I think these Star Trek figures, like these, I bet I just have this feeling that if you start looking in like 5 or 10 years from now, these figures are going to be $100 each, and right now they're $5 to $10, and you're going to be kicking yourself. You're going to be going, I saw them everywhere for $5 or $10, and I heard everyone talking about this, and I didn't believe them, and now all of a sudden they're $100 each, you know. And so I really do think that we should be buying up all the Star Trek Next Generation, the Playmate Star Trek. We should be buying up all these, the Marvel Toy Biz, like Marvel Toy Biz. Now this one's already started going up. Like, I only, like, right before the lockdown, I was buying these figures on card for $5, like $5 to $10, just like the Star Trek. But now a large number of these are in the $30 to $50 range already. And I guarantee you in another 5 years, these are all going to be around $100. And so same thing, like, I want to finish these and get the holes. Like I've got a lot of them, but there's still one or two figures here and there that I need to track down. And I want to track them down now while they're in the $30, $40 range, where before they get to the $100 range 5 years from now. So, yeah, so there's lots of these kind of things that I want to collect and fill in from my collection, because I think the 90s figures is the next wave of stuff. Yeah, Lax saying like Dick Tracy, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, exactly. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is another great one. Like I really do think that a lot of these things are going to start really going up there that were hot in the 90s, you know. At least move the factory to India with yeah, they're just going to keep the profits. Retro collection is the future. I agree. I like the retro collection stuff. Slow down due to cost and crap figures. I'm moving towards collecting vintage and retro stuff. Yeah. More modern wave collecting for the, yeah, you don't buy the whole wave. I think what Lack's saying is you're not going to buy, you no longer buy the whole wave. Exactly. I pick one or two figures and that's it if you do it any at all. 3.75 for the win. Chips like outbid John, hashtag outbid John. What were the links again, John? Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I'm looking at. Yeah, but not all of it's on eBay. Some of it's in other Mercari and other things. So I picked up another last 17, the B-Wing pilot carded, my first Star Wars figure since I was a kid. That is awesome. Collecting with cool. You are going to be hooked. Just yeah, that is great. I think my B-Wing pilot is on a Tri logo. No, he's on the card with the coin. I think my B-Wing has the coin. So he's on a, the B-Wing pilot carded, I think, has the coin. Yeah. Agro Dave, how you doing? Hey, Sags. Hey, everyone. I rarely bother with modern anymore. It's too expensive. I get the odd piece, but I'll stick with vintage. Yeah. I was excited, but after the reveals, not feeling it anymore. Dick Tracy and Moo Mesa. Yeah, those things. I just checked on my list. I am into 26 vintage, so that'll keep me busy. Yeah, exactly, right? But it's more fun too, you know, because I'm the same way, Lobot. I've got a couple G.I. Joe figures I want to find still on my list, and some vehicles. I still need a Rattler. The Rattler's one of the biggest. That's like my key item right now in G.I. Joe is getting a Rattler, because I had that as a kid. It's something. It's the last jet that we had as a kid that I still need, because I picked up the Night Raven. We got the Sky Striker put together thanks to Scuba Pete and everybody who helped me out with that. That was a community effort. Building that Sky Striker was like Scuba Pete. And did you send me stuff, G-Force? Wasn't you? Or I don't know. A number of different people sent me parts for that Sky Striker. So that was a community effort to build that. And Scuba Pete sent me like a new shell, a new body. But that was an awesome project, and I got to actually show that off someday and give credit to everybody who helped out, because that was a community effort. But I've got that. So I got the Night Raven, the Sky Striker, and the Conquest X30, and then so I need the Rattler. The Rattler's the last plane that we had as a kid that I need to get, and then the other one is the Mauler, the G.I. Joe Mauler tank. That was something I had as a kid. I have a photo of me getting that at Christmas one year, the Mauler tank. And so I got to have that back, because I've got a photo of me getting it for Christmas one year as a kid. And then for, like, there's one or two vehicles for Masters of the Universe I would like, but I think I've got all the figures I want from the vintage figures. But there's one or two vehicles I still want to get for the Masters of the Universe line, the original vintage. And and then there's a couple things I want to pick up for the Alien figures. I want to get some more STARCOM stuff, you know, because there's a couple of vehicles that I would love to get. So yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. There's a number of different things. Like I said, 2 or 3 mask vehicles. I want to get the rest of the good guys for the for Thundercats. I've got all the bad guys I want, but I want a couple good guys. Primal Rage, Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars. Yeah, I hear Biker Mice from Mars is coming back, so that's coming back again. No coin on this one. It's just a Jedi. Yeah, awesome. You got on the big screen now. Whoops. Glendon. Hi, Glendon. How you doing? I don't think I can switch to the retro or vintage. It'll be extremely hard to me move from the Black Series. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're into. I mean, if you're, I don't know. I guess it's because I collect so many things that it's difficult to stick with it. Yeah. Being a box, it's too expensive. Yeah, that's in box collecting vintage is hard. I like the loose stuff, but yeah, collecting it in the box. Everything is a few $100s now, no matter what it is. Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to do with this STARCOM was let me look up I think it was Transformer Land that had these STARCOM vehicles, and we can take a look at that and see the different things, different vehicles and stuff that were around. Yeah, they've got most of the pictures. Let me switch to Transformer Land here. We're going to go to Transformer Land and look at these. Chrome tab, Transformer Land, share. Is that coming through? Let me see. We got to switch it to that. There we go. All right. My local shop just got a massive G.I. Joe collection. Unfortunately, I know nothing, so I have no idea. I'll have a video coming soon. Do they have a Rattler? The blue Cobra jet. Do they have that? I'll send you the money if you got the blue Cobra jet. Yeah, with the flip up engines and the wings flip up. Yeah. It's like a A10 Warhawk looking thing. Right? Wasn't that an A10? I think I'm still buzzed from yesterday. So let's look at this website real quick before we end the STARCOM stream. So a lot of the figures, like we saw, they had the visor, which is I only have one visor. I'm missing it on everybody else, and they also had these guns with a rubber hose that went to a backpack. So the hose would go from this little peg on the bottom of the backpack to a little peg that's on the gun, and fit to his back, and the gun would go in his hand. So I don't own any of the guns. Those are super expensive and hard to find. So unfortunately, I don't own any of that. I do wish that I did, but yeah. And yes, Toys and Fitness at 9. Yeah, it is an A10. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You don't need everything. Just get what you want. Yeah, me too. Same thing. And he says, yes, I think so. If seriously, if they have a Rattler and it's in good shape, like nothing, the wings aren't broken, I've been hunting for that for a long time in good shape. It has to be pretty much near mint and have it doesn't need all the missiles. I could find the missiles on my own, but it's just got to be in pretty much the vehicle itself can't be broken. So if they have one in good shape, I would absolutely send you the money and get that worked out if you don't mind. So like here are the bases that we were talking about. So this is the a STARCOM base playset. It looks a little bit like Was this Bespin, the Bespin playset where he went to the little they fought in here, then he went out there, got blown out the thing, and he had to go on the railing where he was like, I'm your father, and he's like, no, you're not my father, no, and he falls off. So it looks a lot like that, yeah. But it's got a command center area. I don't think they don't show any other pictures. They just got the one. But yeah, that's a cool little playset. STARCOM U.S. Space Force playset, the STARCOM command base with Major Tony Barona. And then we got the Starbase Station, and this was another playset that they had. So this had an elevator that worked. It went up this little ratchet system. Guns on top, guns on the second platform. And I'm sure these were all magnetic bases, so you could stick the guys anywhere. And then the vehicle could come in, this little thing would turn around. The base would turn around, spin, so they could go out a different way. Pretty cool. Neat looking stuff. Crash test dummies. Yep, that's another one. I sent a pic on Instagram. All right, cool. The Rattler's very badass. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, it looks like the micro set. Yeah, exactly. And then let's see. So some of the other vehicles, like they had this, so they have a med bay, which looks like it was exclusive to Europe. So there's a med bay. You got a bed for a character to lay in. This little glass hatch would come down over the bed. And then there's this little med bay light or something. There's an area over here for the guy. And this would close up. The med bay could close up and then go in the ship. So it could go in that bomber in the cargo area. So these little play sets could fold up and go inside. This is a bad guy repair bay that again could fold up and go inside the bomber ship, you know. So it's pretty cool. Those would be neat to find. But they're European exclusives. They weren't in the United States. So they're probably going to be hard to find. And then we have a walker. This is something I don't have. It's got 4 legs like a walker. That looks pretty cool. I've got the yellow part, but I don't have this. That's really cool. I would like to have that. That's cool. And then we got, so all the little vehicles that I have, we got here. And then we got the, so this was the dual ship. It's got 2 cockpits connected by a centerpiece. That's a cool fighter looking thing. And it must be these missiles. Did they come out the middle here? Did they go out the middle? But that would be a cool one to find. That would be really cool. Let's look at the box. They got a picture of the box. Yeah, look at that thing. Oh, the missiles go on the wings. Okay. Yeah, look at that thing. The Starhawk. That's cool. Motorized changes, no batteries needed. That is really cool. Yeah, I'd love to get one of those. See, like getting more of this line would be awesome. We got that. We got that. Here's the bad guy thing. We got this bad guy vertical takeoff and landing vehicle with a pilot on both sides. And I bet these guns can rotate to either side. I bet they can rotate around. That's cool. That's pretty cool. And then we got this other vehicle walker-like thing. It's got tank tread legs. And I remember this thing extends. It pulls out, like it opens up. And then these guns pop out. This is hard to find complete because I see this often, but it's missing the treads on the wheel. The treads, it's usually missing these guns. So it's usually just this center part that you see out in the wild. But I have seen this around, but it's always missing parts. And then These are European, so these are European exclusive vehicles and stuff. So we've got this giant. This looks cool. Let's look at this one. Wow, look at that. Weird looking. So this must open up. Wow. The 6-shooter. And then there's like a little shuttle thing. What is this thing? So those wings would fold down. It looks like this. It might fold up. This might fold around. And then you might be able to fit it in one of the cargo containers because this might fold in half. There's a fold right there. So it looks like this might fold in half and then you could fit it in the cargo container. What's this thing? Wow. Tornado gunship? Weird. And again, it looks like it folds all up. Everything would fold up in here and it could go into a cargo container. But that's a weird looking ship. That's a weird looking thing. Tornado gunship, it's called. Huh. Let's look at this. A little mini ship for the bad guys, I think. So some of this stuff too, like they don't even have photos of the mini tank because it's a European exclusive. They don't have a photo of the Shadow Attack Trike, the Shadow Upriser, because some of these things are so rare, they don't even have photos of them. Wow. That's a weird looking thing. Some of this Series 2 stuff is weird looking. The Missile Fox, that's pretty neat. Look at that missile. Oh, that slides in there so we can and then shoots out. Okay. Shadow Blast Track. So that's like a little tank. Yeah. I bet this opens up so you can put guys in it. This hatch probably opens up so you can put a guy standing in there. Canadian exclusive, the Sky Roller. So there was a lot of stuff that you could only get in other countries. There's like half the line you could only get in Canada and Europe and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having this ship. I thought that one's cool looking, and I wouldn't mind having the this other bad guy ship. This thing is cool looking too. So there might be one or two things I might still want to track down for this line. I don't need all the other stuff. This little walker would be cool. So maybe like 3 things. There's 3 other things I would like to track down, which would be cool. And then the European stuff, I bet it's just too expensive to even try for. But I don't know. This one was kind of cool, but the rest of them are, yeah, you could take it or leave it, right? You know, it's not that. But I definitely would like to find these 2 vehicles and this little walker maybe. That might be pretty cool. Yeah. Huh. Well, there we go. That's that. We'll stop looking at that. Come back to here. Look at your Twitter, I might have sent you a rattler. John, look now. Let's take a look. We'll look my Twitter. Geek Strong sent a photo. Yeah, that's definitely a rattler. So far, the wings don't look like there's any stress marks, but it's hard to tell. So you see the engines that are on the wings, Sometimes there will be stress marks that are in it'll be a light blue colored, the plastic will turn light blue, almost white looking, which means that someone has stressed the wings too much and they're about to break. So if there's no stress marks on the wings, I would definitely like to have this. The other thing to look for are the wheels on the bottom, the landing gear. If the landing gear is broken or has stress marks, I don't want it. And it's so bad that it's very difficult to replace the wheels, the landing gear. Quite often I see them with busted landing gear, and you'll see it when you see the vehicle. They're very difficult to actually get in there and replace the landing gear and replace the wings. It's going to be more of a hassle to track down new tires, new landing gear, and track down new parts for the wings than it is just to buy one that's not broken from the start. So that's why I haven't done it. Like with the Sky Striker and the Conquest X30, I was fine with buying a shell and then finding the parts that I needed, because it's not as intricate as this Rattler is. The Rattler is so intricate and so convoluted in the way that it moves and stuff that it's you cannot just buy a shell and then get the parts for it. You can buy one without the missiles, because the missiles, they just pop on like normal. So I don't care if it doesn't have all the missiles. The only thing it has to have is no stress marks on the wings and no problems with the landing gear. The landing gear have to be perfect. If that's the case, then I'll buy this. 100% I will buy this, because I can get all the other parts. I can get I can get the missiles. I can get this looks like it's missing the hatch cover for the gun. There's a gun right there on the back, on the top of the plane. It looks like the hatch cover's missing. So and that's easy to find. I can get that part. But otherwise, I would absolutely 100% buy this. Even if it's like $100 to $120, I would gladly pay $120 for this as it is right there. Absolutely. Yeah, that is exactly what I've been looking for years, and I can't find one in good shape. It's so bad. So Dino, yeah, if you go back there and you see this thing, I 100% do want it. I'll pay up to 120, 125, but I'm not paying any more than that. So Red Shadow Custom INT4. Yeah. I'm not into custom vehicles, but I do appreciate looking at them, but I don't own any. I wouldn't own that, but I appreciate Mark having it. Look now, John. Go down there and house it. That rig is sponsored by Caterpillar, brown and yellow. These ship designs are top notch. The new stuff you show me is never ending. I'll say it again. Watching SAG should come with a government warning. Watching this show may induce spontaneous toy hunting, which may lead to a loss of earnings, divorce, or destitution. Yeah, we'll have that. That's funny. I want to capture that warning. We'll make a video with that warning on it. We vote that use that warning. Yeah. Should I watch? Yeah, why not? It's not bad. It's a dumb movie, but it's not bad. It's a popcorn flick. Dino, go up and Machino your muscles. A deal for our brother. Sly Stallone's best movie, Lecky baby. All right, guys, I'm gonna get rolling. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at STARCOM figures and vehicles today. And yeah, I am 100% serious, Dino. If you can get back there and that Rattler's still there, I will. You could even call me while you're in the store. Call me while you're in the store. I will absolutely 100% send you the money to buy that thing, and then you can get it shipped to me, because it's that hard for me to find one. It has been so difficult to find one in good shape that I'm willing. I want to do this 100%. I have the money right now. I could absolutely do this tomorrow if you wanted to, or even later today. I don't care, whatever it is, and or 2 weeks from now. I don't care, whatever your time frame fits in, But yeah, that is something I have been so difficult tracking down that I want really bad. But again, it's got to be that right price. If it's $150, $200, no way. I can't pay that. That's beyond what it's worth. You know what I mean? It's not worth $200. So at least to me, and I've seen them going for less around town and stuff, but what they were broken. So I don't. It's hard to say what a mint one in good shape would be, but I guess I just to say I don't want to pay $200. I'll pay $120, maybe $125, but nothing over $125. Yeah. So yeah, we just got to know the price, I guess. I know how you feel about customs, and I honor all vintage toys. Yeah, it's just I have a problem painting something and taking it away from its original state. Like I don't even a broken one, even a broken toy. I have a problem. I have a mental block. I have a mental problem. It's a mental health issue, I think, with trying to paint or customize a vintage toy. It's got to be like you can't change something that's 50 years old. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. And it shouldn't be that way, because if I found a 1967 Corvette, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I would repaint it all day. Why not repaint it? Make it look really nice, restore it. But I can't repaint a vintage toy. Like, why? It should be the same thing. Restore it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. It's difficult. Maybe I'll think differently in a few years, because you're right. The car, I would absolutely restore that old car. So why not restore old toys? I guess you could look at it that way. So maybe you're changing my mind on this. Maybe I'm talking myself into being able to change my mind, right? Great show. Good journey. Big Bad Bill. Thanks to Bill and thanks to Largo for coming on. I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Let me play my little thing on the way out, and we'll see you guys next time. Thundercats next week, maybe? What do you think? Thundercats? Maybe we'll do Thundercats next week. I don't know. We'll see.
It's high time we got to the bottom of these shenanigans.
Hi, this is Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you for listening to the Super Awesome Geek Show.